Hello. Hope you can see what's going on around here. This is an impromptu. I knew this was coming up. Did not know the TV would be behind me, but I'm glad that you have all made it. I'm kind of looking down at my notes to see uh, what I should come up with, but we're going to go through with this no matter what, however it goes. Uh, it's always nice to be able to get here and to do the things that's necessary prior to. I want to say welcome to each and every one of you. I'm glad that you were able to join in to this live podcast and the launch of my book, Four Powerful Strategies to Heal from Trauma. I'm excited because it's my first adventure. This is also my first podcast, and I'm not even sure if this is being recorded, but somebody will tell me if it's being recorded or not. I'm just happy that you're here. I'm happy that I'm capable or able, have the technology to bring this to you. There's a few rules, I guess, going on, and be mindful in the chat. Make sure that you protect your identity at all times. And just welcome to this joyous occasion. It's joyous for me. And of course, I'm a little nervous to be addressing each and every one of you as though it's different. It really is. And I'm excited. Today is my birthday, 5/26/63. I am 61 years old. I am the host and the author of Four Powerful Strategies to Deal with Trauma. Now, where did all of this come from? How did it start? And how am I right here in YouTube land? It just blows my mind. It blows my mind, really. Just a few years ago or a little while ago, I was suffering from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. And some people who are friends of Bill W. might know that. Some people might not. But what that means was I was trapped in a world that was just not productive to society. It definitely wasn't productive to myself. But anyway, I was really suffering and had alcoholism, addiction problems, just all kind of issues in my life going on. And this was leading up to a climax of a couple of years ago, or actually to say the actual date, February 14th of 2023, I came back into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I came back into recovery, and I say back into because my journey started a long time ago, and I won't take up too much time to give you my whole story. That's not why I'm here. But I did want to acknowledge the fact that I am in recovery, and that has a lot to do with the making of recovering or Four Powerful Strategies to Heal from Trauma. My journey started way back again. There are several stories of my life out there, and my older brother died at 3 years old, a month after I was born. And when I told that story the first time and shared it with my mom, there was controversies. I said 18 months, and it was only about a couple of 2 or 3 weeks that another family took care of me as she was recovering from the death of my older brother. So it's uncut, unrehearsed. This is truly off the fly. I'm tickled to death, or to life. Matter of fact, I'll speak life into anything and everything that's there. One of the things I can guarantee you, though, is I will not give you any opinions of my own, because opinions is like elbows. Everybody has two. I will only share my experience, strength, and hope. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know, and I'll be excited to see what's in the comments as we progress through Four Powerful Strategies to Heal from Trauma. What makes me a expert on this? I won't say that I'm an expert, but I lived 61 years of life, and that has taken me through the ups and downs of all types of trauma. And so that's where I come from a point of experience. I'd say it took me 2 marriages and 3 college degrees. I am not bragging about that, but that is a fact of my life. And it took that to get me here, to be honest, to be in front of the public and to say something of that nature, that trauma was a major part of my life. And I'm sure each and every one of us have some form of trauma. Uh, Facts is that over 60% of Americans suffer from or deal with some form of childhood trauma or some form of trauma. Now, if you think about that, every other person you know suffers from or deals with some form of childhood trauma. That's a lot of folks. So it might be you, it might not be you, but if it's you or if you know someone that's suffering, get them to this podcast, give them to my website. Uh, the exciting part of it is that I've recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, which I'm covering trauma because all trauma affects individuals in different ways. And for me, uh, it took me to depths and ways to cover up things that I just didn't know. As I say, my trauma was of an inappropriate touch, and around 8 years old, I nurtured that. I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell no adults. Although we were taught in school, if you're touched, if you're this or that or done, then you need to let somebody know. But it was so elusive. It was so intriguing. It was, I guess, my vocabulary now would put it as amazing, but back then it was traumatic. And so I didn't want to tell anyone. I wanted to nurture that and take care of it. And before I know it, I was trying to reenact that feeling. It just felt and seemed like love at the time. But now that I know, looking back, it had caused me some issues in my life. So I sought that feeling and I sought to protect it on and on through my life. A little fast forward, um, alcohol was introduced into my life by my own choice. I remember crawling, sneaking a swig and running upstairs and chasing it with water. And and so that was another portion. That's where my alcoholism started way back then. And so between nurturing the traumatic event and the feeling of euphoria or love in my mind, in my little mind at the time, I progressed through life and more weed introduced into my life, more alcohol, and then eventually some other drugs, crack cocaine and things of that nature introduced in my life. And I left most of that stuff alone once or twice or even 3 times. And before I know it, the third time I was hooked and didn't know how to get out. And so once that happened, I spent a year trying to get out of that situation and being addicted. No one wants to wake up being addicted or anything of that nature. And I know this is about the 4 powerful strategies of healing from trauma, but if you don't know how I got there and how I recovered, then it's no way that I can become helpful or useful to anyone that's suffering from trauma. So I proceeded through all of that, and that brought me to a point to where I was suffering. I was locked in my own mind. Dad taught me real well when I was early: work hard, get a good education, marry, get the 2.5 kids, go to college, get a good job, work 20, 30 years and retire. I got the white picket fence, the houses and everything, but all of those was check marks. These were things that I was taught. Religion was a big part of my life. Take a breath, breathe in, breathe out. Uh, Take a breath and slow down, because this is no marathon and my life wasn't a marathon. But I do remember working hard, going to school, getting the education. I remember passing an exam, an 8-hour exam, which made me the top dog in Houston, Texas, as a master electrician. That didn't solve the nurturing, the hiding of, and the constant wanting to change the way I felt, not knowing that I had created devices and mechanisms and lies and everything that I could to nurture this little feeling, to continue to hold on. Now, I'm not saying that the trauma made me an alcoholic or addict. I'm not saying that. I just know that that traumatic event caused me to develop techniques to feel an outer body experience at any time that I wanted to, no matter what it was, whether it was drugs, sex, alcohol, lying, cheating, another education, harder work. All of these things I feel myself making me feel like I was worthy, I had arrived or done the things that I was supposed to do in life per what life tells us that we're supposed to do: go to school, get a good education, family, kids, life, all of those things. So anyway, I came into recovery back. The first time that I had some predominant amount of recovery was February 2nd, 2000. Um, it's been about 15 years, 359 days without a drink or a drug in my body. Uh, was working overseas as a master electrician, living the life, traveling from place to place. I actually said, well, it's actually a fact that I've visited more places out of the country than I have in the United States. And that ain't to brag or anything. That just shows the amount of liberation, the amount of degrees or how hard I worked to get wherever I was. Now, a lot of that was not me. A lot of that was a power greater than myself. A lot of that was the creator providing avenues for me to get where I needed to be or where he needed me to be. I believe that today. And the dog just came in. Get anyway, so getting back to the traveling around the world, 15 years, 350 some odd days into it, I decided that there was some other people having fun drinking, and I decided to drink again. And from 2016 to February 14th, 2023, my recovery and happiness has been precarious, as the book puts it. And of happiness, I had not much. It says none. I was trying to quote the book to the T, but either way, I was in and out of the rooms. I was drinking. I maintained drinking for 3 or 4 years and then would slip off into some heavier things. And some of the yets start happening to me, like going to jail. I don't like to tell this story, but at the age of 15, 16, my oldest daughter had to call the police on me. I would not let their mom out of the room because I was paranoid or whatever the case was. All she knew is that there was some commotion going on. The police was called and I was taken to jail once again. The first time for a domestic situation. Fortunately, my ex, she was pleading with the individual, stating that that's not my husband. I was out of my mind and I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Bounced back from that only by the grace of God. So I say all of that to say, when I discussed 4 powerful strategies, it was some of these strategies that brought me back from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. And I did not know these strategies was going to work. I did not know that I was going to write a book discussing them, but I know that if they help me, I just might be able to help one other individual recover from that seemingly state of mind and body, no matter if it was a traumatic situation, no matter if it's alcoholism, addiction, divorce, all of these things. I feel for me that these four strategies can begin the road of healing, and it set me on a path of the joy that I have today. That's why I can smile and just be happy, because for the longest time I was everything that everybody else taught me to be besides who I'm supposed to be. Now I know that sounds strange. I have some experiences in both areas, and I say, well, you were doing everything you're supposed to do. You were taking care of business. There's not many of days that I missed because of any of that, besides, extensive stays in treatment centers or anything of that nature. But the bottom line is, I was going through life, I accomplishing things, check mark, husband, yep, check. You got to do X, Y, Z, check. A good child or a good son, check. I know how to do all of that stuff. I knew the parameters to be these individuals, but I never knew that it was all circled around a feeling that I experienced a long time ago. So enough about my story. Eventually, I met uh, someone introduced me to Michael Beckwith online. I started listening to Michael Beckwith and Reverend Michael Beckwith, and he discussed the terms of an acorn. Now, acorn might not mean much to you, or you might have heard the story of an acorn, but it's phenomenal. Not phenomenal, there's got to be another word for it, but it was a turning point in my life because I grew up playing neighborhood tag around an oak tree. And after finding all of this stuff out, that I found out an oak tree is a symbolism for strength. Some cultures use it for spirituality. Uh, as below as above, the branches reach just as far as the roots reach. Roots. Anyway, you get the point. Uh, so he discussed the thing of an acorn, and it was put to me that an acorn has everything in it it needs to be a mighty oak. Now, I meant to bring my acorn. An acorn this small becomes a mighty oak with a trunk with a circumference of anything from 12 inches to, I don't know what the largest oak tree is, but it's huge. And so when I got to thinking about that, he then turned around and said, that same oak tree, that same acorn, as God put it, the Creator put it in the acorn, the Creator also put in me to be everything that I'm supposed to be here on this earth, to live my purpose. And that was amazing. It was like I say, a turning point to me. It was so simple that I had complicated it over and over through my life, trying to be what everybody expects me to be. You say religion, I say God, deaconship, got it. I can go do this. But when the thought comes to change the way I feel, all of that went out the window. Deaconship, religion, wife, kids, children, whatever. I didn't care about any of that. All I knew was I had to have whatever it was I wanted to have at that time. The book Alcoholics Anonymous talk about on the page 62 that um, selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of my problem. And I feel and know for today, it goes on to say that we suffer from 100 forms of fear. And a lot of that was fear that you was going to take my little pride and joy or my little nurturing, fear that I was going to be found out, fear that I just didn't know, what the case was going to be. So coming in through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous for the third or fourth or fifth time after a long stint of recovery, I met Reverend Beckwith, and he talks about the acorn, and I started listening a little closer. And then once it was the Creator put the same thing in me to be the mighty individual that I should be, walking this earth and presenting whatever it was. I know today that my is to help improve or to help someone's life and to find culture and develop self-love. Uh, Self-love is it amazes me now that it took me 60 plus years to find true love, true self-love. And once I could love myself unconditionally, knowing all of the things that I've done, good, bad, or indifferent, all of the people that I've hurt and the people that have hurt me, came down to these four powerful strategies. And that just resonated with me. So I started logging and putting, and so I've recovered from a seemingly hopeless state, 12 steps through prayer and meditation and journaling, through discussing my ailments and acknowledging that I had trauma, and then forgiving myself and forgiving those who abused me or created the trauma, and then moving forward and journaling about it. I often say that there's a nerve that goes from your fingertip to your brain. Let me back up. So when I passed the master's exam, there was a 4-hour closed book exam at the very beginning. You had to know 100% of the questions or 70% of the questions to pass. And so I had an instructor that used to say, Oliver, all you need to know is the square root of 3. And I was amazed because I had another instructor that said sine, tangent, cosine, any of those mathematical uh, connotations, I would shut down because I didn't think I was worthy. I didn't know I knew how to work a calculator in that aspect. So another fear, was of mathematics. Although I'm smart enough, I knew it, but it's just the sound of sine, tangent, cosine. And so anyway, he told me that there was a nerve that goes from your fingertip to your brain. And as the information that we process is in our head, it's all fiction. Ask yourself, how many stories have you told yourself that wasn't really true? How many times did you take one subject and twist it totally around that the whole world was against you or that you were going to fail at something? Or so the mind has infinite stories that it can tell me. But the minute I write that information down on a piece of paper or whatever, it becomes facts. And so I pursued that to the same degree as when I took the test. That first half, I passed. I knew walking out of that 4-hour session that I had 69 of those questions absolutely right. And if I couldn't guess another 2 to pass the first part of the exam because they wouldn't grade the second part of the exam, then it was over anyway. But fortunately, I made over 1,500 flashcards. I proceeded to pass that exam. It projected me into becoming a master electrician, owning my own business, relapsing, coming back in, traveling the world, getting the education, showing up once again, beaten down to to a sense of just beat down. Uh, Book recalls it my my dilemma as a rapacious creditor coming from it, and that's what alcoholism and addiction does. It's the rapacious creditor. Once I ingest alcohol or sex or uh, drugs or anything that changes, alters my personal feeling, I don't know how far I'm going to go. That is the big book definition of an alcoholic or an addict, and so I'm allergic to alcohol. I'm allergic to things that make me feel good. And we have to keep that all in context. But anyway, uh, Michael Beckwith, the acorn story, the mighty oak, my life, God has planted in me to be the purpose that I be. This channel, this podcast will be based on self-love. And so my book came about because I finally journaled enough and identified enough things in my life that I finally found self-love. And that is an amazing feeling. Uh, so with all of that, how do you know you love yourself? One day I was journaling about a year or so ago. And as I was writing, the word you came to life on the page of my book, on my journal. And instead of seeing you, I saw a Y. My O looked like a heart, and the U was there. And I kind of chuckled and continued writing. And I looked at it again. And that's where You Love You developed. Uh, I wrote it on an index card. I'm still writing ideals and things on the index card today. And that's where You Love You came up. And let me check. I don't see it. But anyway, that's where You Love You came up. And I am just elated about everything that's possibly going on. So I wanted to check the time and make sure that I wasn't going over. So as You Love You popped out on the stage, I remember meeting with several other spiritual advisors. I remember meeting someone came out and did a sponge or chased the evil spirits from my house, just blessed it with a blessing of incense and things of that nature. So all of these things went against the religious background that I grew up with, but it was a beginning to a new life. And then journaling on a regular basis, I found You Love You LLC. And to this day, I still pray, meditate every morning. I'm up at 4:45. I do a head blessing. I do a prayer. I meditate for about 10 or 15 minutes. I journal, and then I jump into the shower, a meeting, and my day begins. But very seldom do my day begin without prayer and meditation. And that has been unsurmountable. It has been a catalyst to the peace, love, joy, happiness, abundance, good health, and all of the things that I'm experiencing today. And I can experience it without being under the influence. I can experience it as being me. And it's a direct result of the 4 powerful strategies. So I figured I would get into some of the strategies. The link is not in the video, but if you would like to grab a book, there is a site. It's called members.youloveyoullc.com. Members.youloveyoullc.com. The LLC comes because someone else had the You Love You website, and so I had to put an LLC on it. And also, I am incorporated, limited liability corporation, so that was the way to get around that and to keep the You Love You, the youloveyou.com symbol. So the first into this 4 powerful strategies to heal from trauma, the first thing that I did to begin my healing journey was listening to a positive, motivating, spiritual guide such as Michael Beckwith. I've listened to some Russell Brand, Ayanna Van Zandt. All of these names have been individuals that I've studied to see how they made it through whatever it was. Ayanna Van Zandt has a program that I was like, yep, I gotta have it. I'm gonna do this program. And at the time, I really wasn't in a financial position to do the program that I thought I was gonna do, but I found another program that she has, and it was a 6 weeks course. And it required a lot of study, a lot of prayer, a lot of meditation. Would answer questions in the morning, answer questions at night, read, pray, meditate, down to the point of making up my bed, washing dishes, making sure the trash taken out, all of these things that I normally do. But it just had me chuckle when I first signed up to it. I'm like, man, I could do this on my own. But for me, it took what it took. It took a specific pattern, a specific task on a daily basis to develop the habit that I've developed to come up with mindfulness. Now, I would love to have the actual definition of mindfulness, which I'm supposed to have it here, right here on my notes. And I don't have it in front of me, but it is in my website or somewhere. But mindfulness for me is being present with no outside disturbances. That's the gist of mindfulness, is to be present in your body, right here, right now, with no outside distractions. As you can tell, I get distracted sometimes easily, but that's going to be all right as well. So mindfulness, my portion of mindfulness is to sit down. I was listening to several different podcasts or several different meditations in the morning. I like the 432 hertz, anything with that in it. There's several different sound frequencies and different things, techniques that I can put into the website. I have not put that in there as of yet. Everything you see on youloveyoullc.com or in this podcast or even in my book has been developed strictly from my experience. It hasn't been outside doctrine or any of these things. I've developed this from my experience and my experience mostly. And my education is in business project management. As I say, I'm a master electrician. I'm supposed to be able to fix things, and I couldn't fix myself from the seemingly hopeless state of mind and body until I acknowledged that I had it. Once I acknowledged it, I started doing the mindful techniques that I've learned and that I discuss in the book. I also started journaling on a daily basis. As I say, I went through the 6-week program. It took me almost 6 months to get through the program, but I was persistent. and diligent on a regular basis. I maintained and did everything that I was supposed to do because I paid for the course, and I wanted to make sure that I get my money's worth. Think like that. And my brain just, if you pay for something, go through it. If you join something, do the whole thing. Um, all of these things were techniques that I knew. It wasn't like I didn't know. But when I started practicing them on a daily basis, when I started acknowledging my trauma and start tracing back and writing about it. Now, when I say mindful meditation, so I meditated mindfulness on a regular basis. Then journaling comes into effect. And I thought that there had to be something specific that I journal about. Oh, my day was XYZ, or uh, as the program taught, something that influenced me the night before. What is my plans for today? And how did I do at the end of the day? Well, see, I got stuck with at the end of the day. I was like, man, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I didn't. And so I was down on myself. I believe today that we are what we think, and you will get what you speak. Bottom line, I don't care who you are. That's not an opinion. That's what has happened to me. That's been my experience. So journaling on a daily basis went from that to just sitting in front of a piece of paper, writing out whatever was on my mind at the time. Uh, I do have one of my journals here, so I don't ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do. That's over. Well, that's a daily log. I have another one of these books with a five bound notebook that I back it up with and do other work as far as journaling, prayer, and meditation, things of that nature. But so mindfulness, being present, no outside distraction, journaling on a daily basis, no matter what it is you journal. I believe there's a nerve that goes from your fingertip to your brain. It's fiction as long as it's running around in your brain. It's facts when you put it on the paper, and I can deal with facts. So the third thing is community. In the 12-step program, you have a community of individuals, like-minded individuals that come together. The platform that I'm creating is a community of like-minded individuals that will come together and discuss their trauma or what they're comfortable with. And we'll discuss ways that they've dealt with or has coming over, getting over, or still going through. This is not no one and done, one fix all type program. And the book is only a beginning to the actual programs that I have. And I'm not here trying to sell recovery on anybody. This is not Alcoholics Anonymous by no means. I'm not trying to come up on Alcoholics Anonymous or the principles and the traditions speak specifically against that. But if that is what has helped me arrive at the position that I'm at today, by all means, I'm going to share that. And either you go down that road, or you go down the road of journaling, or you go down the road of just coming in wanting help or wanting to help someone. All of these things are avenues that I feel I can provide a platform to where like-minded individuals can come together and help each other. Each one help one, each one reach one. Hashtag deliberate acts of kindness. I have another website, which I'll talk about at the end. All of these things has come, which has been a part of my life. I always tried to give. I've always tried to help others. I've always loved others. But when love comes from a learned behavior in my life, it is not the same as unconditional love for yourself and for your neighbor. I probably could not repeat that again if I had to, but that's truly what I feel is love now comes from a position that I love myself unconditionally. Whether I'm good, bad, or indifferent, I love me today. And so one of the arch questions that I would present to each and every one of you listening today and any day is, how do you know you love yourself? Drop me a line in the comments. When did you find out you loved yourself? And what did it take for you to love yourself? As I thought I'd come out the womb loving myself. I thought because I showered every day and got up and did the things I did. I thought because I took care of my family. I thought because you name it. Uh, I thought that was all love. Love is not conditional. I learned that. And I've been told that. My two marriages will probably tell you that I've been told that. It's not conditional. It took what it took to get me where I'm at today. I'm making no excuses on child uh, trauma. I'm not making any excuses on drinking alcohol or anything. Facts are facts. And the way I got to those facts was writing it down, journaling on a daily basis. So we talked about mindfulness, being present with no outside distractions. Of course, there's a whole deep definition to all of that, deep dive, which we can get into. We talked about journaling on a daily basis, from fiction to fact. Facts matter in my life. Hopefully it will matter in your life, because things that happened in the past and me continually regurgitating and retelling the story. Uh, Michael Beckwith shares a a not a time, but he shares a story about how you go to church and you come in and you're feeling good, and forgot about your worries of yesterday, what you was worried about, and when you come out of church, you go back like, now there was a problem when I came in here. What was that? So we go back and we relive the issues that no longer affects us. It's not an effect on my current life. Yes, it happened. Yes, it's probably fact, whatever that is. And there's no big trauma, little trauma. Some traumatic factors is very traumatic. Losing a loved one, uh, molestation, losing a body part, someone passing. All of these different levels of trauma still comes down to the point, at one point or another, when am I going to, or how am I going to be able to let it go? Now, that might upset some people. It might, and I'm not here to upset anyone. Again, this is my story. This is what happened to me. This is not an opinion. Uh, until I acknowledge the fact that it happened, whatever it was, until I acknowledged I had a part to do with it, innocent or not as a child, told everybody or not, um, all of the things we do had it. Could have been a car accident, could have been anything. And I'm not trying to bring up anything bad. But anyway, I just want you to understand that the trauma alone is not the issue anymore. It's my regurgitating and my thinking of it on a constant basis that comes back up and haunts me on a regular basis. And so I have to be able to deal with that. The way I dealt with that was writing it down on paper, looking at the facts. Okay, where am I at today? Can I do anything about that yesterday? What can I do today to make a better tomorrow? These kind of things, staying in the present. So anyway, I hope that didn't trigger anyone. If it did, by all means, get some help. I'm not a professional. Write me, email me, text me. I can walk you through what I went through. I'll have some information to contact some other entities if you need more help, by all means. I am not a telltale. This would be a peer-to-peer assistance, and I can only share with you my experience. So moving forward though, mindfulness, journaling, community, the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, a loving family of people who have suffered or has some form of trauma and can empathize, sympathize, and be there for each other. The third thing is physical and mental fitness. Move a muscle, change a thought. That's one of the ideals in process. If I move a muscle, I change a thought. If I help somebody, something happens that I get out of self. I have a real good friend that says, I used to say, man, I'm depressed, man, I'm this, I'm that. And he said, well, get off your butt and go help somebody. go help someone else. Get out of self long enough. And when I start helping someone else, it seems like my problems isn't as bad. I often say if we put all our troubles in a pile and we reach in and get one, we gladly give that trouble back and keep the one that we've had instead of share some of the other troubles that other people have. So wrapping this all up, physical fitness, mental fitness, moving a muscle, changing a thought, moving a muscle, helping someone. All of these things are things that I do on a regular basis. I continually wake up every morning with a smile on my face. There's a fact that women smile 65% more times than men in a day. I try to beat that record any chance I can because really, if I'd have got what I was supposed to get while I was here, all the things that I've done in the past, I should be doing it. It's a lot of people that done a lot of the same things that I've done that have received a lot worse uh, ramifications. And so today I've done the work to get exactly what I'm getting. I get today peace, joy, love, happiness. I know words mean stuff, and I'm sure someone's a English teacher or the verbiage might not be well or the best to its ability. I might be speaking slang, and then some people say that I talk with a northern accent. Either way, I grew up, in Akron, Ohio, and I've moved around the world. I've traveled the world, and my experiences in and out of this world and in and out of combat zones, in a real combat zone and combat zones in my mind has afforded me the chance to come up with 4 powerful strategies to heal from trauma. Some of these might be able to help you. I hope and pray that whatever you do, you get help. Please leave a comment below. I'll wrap it up with saying that this journey here that I'm on is amazing. It is amazing. The minute, and I wanted to state, I don't think there was any one specific time that I found out I loved myself during some of my journaling periods. As when I get off into a quiet zone, I remember the creator, spirit of universe, God, Buddha, whoever you use or call as your higher power or the entity that you serve. If you serve one, if you don't believe, that's also okay. Something got me to this point. I remember journaling one day, and as I'm praying and meditating, it took me through all the times that my God, my creator, showed me that he loved me. Now, flashback to my young childhood, I thought that was love. And so I thought love should come to me I thought it should come to me the way I thought it could come to me. But how can I wrap the creator's love in my self-experiences, in my limited knowledge? The creator created the whole universe. How can I wrap that up into, well, love is supposed to look like that. It's supposed to come packaged like this. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. The creator showed me that love came in so many ways. I remember being face down with a gun to my head and the guy on the phone talking about, y'all need to get here. I will shoot this MF. I remember times that I was traveling down the road and an owl just lands in front of my car, looked me dead in my eyes and turned me around immediately and send me home for another trip of getting out of my psychotic mind. I remember times that robbed at gunpoint, the gun didn't go off. I remember times of mom showing me love through food. I remember times that dad showed up at football games loving me. So my creator sat down one day and I wrote for about an hour and a half of just all the ways love and God has taken care of me. And I didn't even know it because I didn't know what to look for, because I assumed it should have looked like this. But God, the creator, is always loving and can do nothing but love. the judgmental religious God that I grew up learning about is not the same spiritual being, the same God that I know today. God can only love. Uh, I don't want to get on a religious tangent, but that's my experience. That's my life. God has shown me love, mercy, grace, abundance, uh, has just shown me so many things in life. So I don't know if my hour is up or not, but I wanted to just share some things with you. Hopefully that you were able to get something out of it, have titles to, and eventually they'll get to a point to where I'll publish them. I meant to put this one on Amazon and just ran out of time because I wanted to celebrate my birthday with giving back to each and every one of you. So hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully you stuck around to the very end. Um, Remember to grab a copy of the book. I also have the audio book for that. You can get it at members.youloveyoullc.com. That's members.youloveyoullc.com. You can also look my website up at youloveyoullc.com. I can be reached at Wendell.youloveyou, actually Wendell@youloveyoullc.com. So the other website that I have, which I'm excited to announce, is called Help a Mofo, helpamofo.com. The web page is not friendly, so if you do go to that website, click on the globe, it'll take you to a shop, a shopping Shopify store where you can buy all kind of gear, hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, things of that nature. Sweatpants, coffee mugs. I might as well advertise my coffee mug now. 24 ounces. It's a beautiful design. I did say that I was going to have a black one with white writing. I have not found a manufacturer yet that can do that for me, but we'll get that taken care of. Helpamofo.com came from a friend of mine always telling me at the end of my conversation, at the end of our conversations, is to go help someone, go help a mofo. So go helpamofo.com is a global movement which we pay it forward through hashtag deliberate acts of kindness. Again, helpamofo.com is a global movement to pay it forward through deliberate acts of kindness. Hashtag act of kindness. I apologize. The sites are always being updated, and I'm doing them on my own instead of paying someone and all of those things. I like to experience the knowledge, and it keeps me out of trouble on a daily basis. So I'm glad you were able to stick around to the very end. YouLoveYouLLC.com. Grab the book, 4 Powerful Strategies to Heal from Trauma. I can be reached at Wendell@YouLoveYouLLC.com. I have a website called YouLoveYouLLC.com. And all of that should have been in the comments and the website below. But I look forward to reading your comments and being able to answer any questions. When you go to members.youloveyoullc.com, there will be a $20 book. There's a down sale for a $10 audio. And then there's a $97 course in there that will give you details on how to perform each and every one of these steps that I went through today. Hopefully this is informative. Feel free to contact me. Let me know if I can help. I am just a soul trying to spread the word of self-love. In closing, I will say that during one of my journaling sessions and some of the courses that I've taken with Ayanna Van Zant, I created, or we were asked to create, a mantra. And it goes sort of kind of like, I will, I'm ready, I'm committed. I will, I'm ready, I'm committed. I now choose to, and then we had to fill in the blank. And so mine came up out of nowhere. She didn't require us to say whatever it was. But anyway, today my mantra is I will, I'm ready, I'm willing, I'm committed. I now choose to help those that the Holy Spirit placed before me to serve. So hopefully you're one of those individuals that I can serve. My whole purpose is to love. This whole website podcast is on self-love. Again, the question of the day is, how do you know you love yourself? And actually, I said I was going to answer that question, and I still don't think I have the actual answer to that. I do know that I love myself today because I can look the world in the eye. I can tell the truth about myself, my past, my behaviors. I can ask for forgiveness. I can forgive. And there's no conditions on the love that I experience today. There's no conditions on the love that I give to others. There's no conditions. And that's how I know that I love me and that I can love you. Thank you so much for your time. Peace, blessings to each and every one of you. I wish I had the intro to the YouTube and the exit, and all of those things will come with time. I'm a novice just doing the things that I think can help someone else. So all of this was definitely a pleasure, a joy, an experience. Uh, we are live. It's May 26th, 2024, and I'm just happy to be here. I'll leave a few minutes for questions and answers. I'll try to see if there's anything in the chat, and I appreciate each and every one of you for showing up. It's been a good day for me. I've celebrated the weekend, food and fellowship, and just a good time. So thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you and you and you for being here, and reach out to touch me. Grab a copy of the book, members.youloveyoullc.com. I can be reached at Wendell@youloveyoullc.com. Website is youloveyoullc.com. And also, if you want some gear or travel mug or something of that nature, you can get it from helpamofo.com. Click on the globe. It'll take you to a Shopify store. There's some coaching programs and some other programs in the Help a Mofo site as well. And that's my whole purpose. That's my time. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. Don't hurt anyone. And ask yourself, how do you know you love you? Things to make you say, So thank you very much.